going on, guys? Welcome back to This Is the Way, Season 1, Episode 4. My name is Kyle. I'm your host. As always, we've got Baby Yoda here, who is always in a different position whenever I share this review. We got the Mando helmet, we got the background here, we got the This Is the Way t-shirt. This is our Mandalorian review. This is the 4th episode of Season 1 here, called Sanctuary, or The Sanctuary, I'm not sure. Basically what this episode is, Mando and Yoda, they need to find like a backwater planet to kind of escape on or lay low for a bit. They go to, I think it's Sargon is the name of it, not to be confused with Scion. I think it's the rapper in Entourage, but you know, I'm just gonna give up on this thing. Just kidding, I'll never give up on you, Baby Yoda. He's just a little tired, that's all these reviews. But they go, he's like, there's a small population, he's like, there's no, like, Imperial force here, we're gonna be good, we'll lay low for a bit. So we open to, like, a really peaceful shot of a town, there's, like, kids playing, they're chasing frogs, it's, like, a nice field with water, yada yada yada, everything looks good. Mando comes down, he goes to the cantina, or not the cantina, but the bar at least, and he's like, hey, everything's good. He tells the waitress, like, yo, watch this child here, tips her, like, a whole bunch of money. She's like, of course, absolutely, no problem. Mando sees Gina Carano, who plays Cara Dune, who is, like, an ex-MMA fighter, but in this universe, she's, like, a kind of like a female bounty hunter, too. She's, like, a warrior. We don't really know what her story is. But basically, they get in, like, a little, like, a mini duel where, like, Mando goes outside, they, like, tackle each other, they, like, point the guns at each other. It's like, are they gonna make out? Do it? Or, like, will they, won't they? Who knows? But it's, like, kind of Mando meeting his match a little bit. But they team up. They eventually go to this village, and they're like, hey, we need your help. We need to, like, you know, you need to defend us from the villagers who are, like, or the enemies who are, like, pillaging this village, like, every week. We get a brief scene where there's, like, bandits or whatever that come in and they, like, set fire to the village and they take all our food and stuff. And they're like, we need protection. And so Mando and Cara take on this mission here. And they go and they investigate, and then they find ATST prints, and they're like, whoa. You didn't tell us there was an ATST. Like, which is an Imperial, it's one of those big walkers with, like, kind of the big head, but not the AT-AT, like the big walkers, but the smaller ones that the Ewoks take down while they shoot the log into the ATST. So they're like, yeah, there's an ATST, you didn't tell us about that, that's not cool, like, that's out of our pay grade. And the village is like, please, we need you to defend us, like, we can't do this anymore, and we can't defend ourselves. Mando's like, no way, man. He's like, I don't get paid enough for that. No deal. He's like, plus there's only 2 of us, like, we can't take it down. And they're like, what are you talking about? There's 20 of us. And he's like, well, maybe we can train you how to fight. And so there's, like, a cool montage of them, like, of Cara and Mando, like, training this village with, like, the sticks. Kind of reminds me of, like, Mulan a little bit. You know, how can I make a man out of you? But they're, like, training with the sticks there. They're like, we're gonna build this, like, deep pit so that when the ATST comes forward enough, they're gonna fall into the pit, which seems like kind of a lackluster plan, because they do run into issues where, like, the ATST stops and doesn't fall forward. There's a lot relying on that ATST, like, going a certain distance, but it's a cool montage of them, like, all trying to fight and them teaching them. There's, like, one, he's like, who knows how to shoot? And there's, like, one girl in the village that knows how. So she's shooting, but they're all, like, missing badly, and it's a cool montage. It's, like, a nice kind of change of pace from, we've seen Mando, like, get the child and escape and been in these big action scenes, and, like, he's trying to lay low, but then they're running into trouble, so he's got to, like, teach this village how to fight. So he kind of becomes a teacher. It's just a different pace than what we're used to, so it's nice. Baby Yoda's, like, really happy here. The kids love him. He's, like, trying to eat these frogs, and the kids are like, ew, and he spits out the frog. But towards the end of the episode, Mando actually mentions, like, you know, he's really happy here. I'm going to leave him here. You know, this is his best chance at survival. And they're, one of the women in there, I didn't catch her name, but she's like, you know, you're going to break his heart if you leave him here. And eventually we see at the end of the episode, like, Mando's like, you're right, and he takes Baby Yoda with him, and they keep going. But that same woman, again, sorry I didn't catch her name, I couldn't find her in IMDb, I'm sure she's in there somewhere. She asked Mando, like, when's the last time you took your helmet off? He's like, oh, just yesterday. And she's like, no, I mean, when did you take your helmet off in front of other people? And he's like, oh, probably since I was, like, their age. And he points to the kids, and these kids are, like, 12 or 14 years old. So he hasn't taken his helmet off as an adult. So it's been, like, at least 12 or 15 years. She's like, wow, like, in front of someone else. She's like, that's crazy. But then he, like, goes to eat, but then he takes his helmet off and, like, eats right in front of, like, an open window. So, like, he's not taking off in front of anyone, but, like, anyone looking into that window could have seen. So that was kind of like a plot hole there, but it's a good idea. Basically, like, Mandos don't take their helmets off no matter what. Eventually, Gina's character, Kara, she actually asks, like, what's the big deal? Like, what happens if you take your helmet off? And Mando is like, well, if someone sees me with my helmet off, or if I take my helmet off, he's like, you can never put it on again. She's like, that's it? She's like, so you can take your helmet off, marry this beautiful girl who's into you, and just chill here? And he's like, yeah, basically. And she's like, but he's like, it's against my code, like, I can't do that. So interesting tidbit there, because it's like, for Kara, or for Gina's character, she's like, dude, just take your helmet off and just chill here, like, no problem. But for Mando, or for Pedro's character, he's like, I can never do that. Like, I am a Mandalorian, like, that is my code. And so it's a good episode because it kind of takes you off the main path. It's like a side story, but it's really cool because, like, they learn to help the village. The ATST eventually comes in, and it's like a scene, I think I read that it was inspired by Jurassic Park. You get the ATST, and it's got, like, the red eyes, which is kind of weird because it shouldn't have, like, a red tint, but it makes for a cool dramatic effect. But the ATST comes in here. It's kind of like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. They're like, oh, it's gonna fall into the pond. It's gonna like, we'll be good. It stops right before. Kara actually has to, like, take Mando's weapon and go behind, like, the swamp there and, like, kind of lure it out. So that's a cool scene. It's kind of dramatic, I guess, but really, that she's just gonna bait it into stepping forward. Eventually, the ATST falls. And then Mando throws a grenade in there and it blows up, so they take it down. It's kind of a cool scene. It's really cool visually, with, like, the red eyes there, and it comes into the pond at night, but kind of predictable. I mean, it's a weird sort of scene there. I wish they had done something else. I mean, the human pilots in there, you think, like, they saw that deep drop off at the pond. They stop initially and they're like, oh, we need to get it to step forward. And then they just do eventually get it, so it falls for the bait. But you're thinking, like, you think the human pilots would be like, no matter what happens, like, we're not stepping forward into that pond because we don't know how deep it is. But, we're just nitpicking here. It's a good episode, I think. So eventually, they take them the ATST and they say, thank you for bringing peace there. Mando and Baby Yoda are like, all right, we're gonna keep going on our merry way here, but, you're welcome, and see you later. The best actress here, I really like Gina Carano as Cara Dune here. She's sort of the first one that challenges Mando, and she, like, gives him another perspective, so I think she's gonna probably take it for my best actress. Pedro Pascal is always good here. We get some Baby Yoda scenes, but he takes a backseat, but it's really cool because it's like, Mando's really acting as a parent now, and he's, like, really watching over the child, and he's like, yeah, I might leave Baby Yoda here, but they're like, I don't know, man, like, that's your kid now, you gotta take it with you. And he's like, you're right, I've been through a lot with this kid already, like, I gotta take it, I can't bear to part with it. So that's a cool insight. But yeah, Gina Carano as Cara Dune, I think she stood out the most, and she really added a different element to this episode than we've seen the previous 3 episodes. For a score for this one, I'm going to give it an 8.7. I think it's a really strong episode. I didn't like this one as much the first time I watched it, but going back and, like, kind of binging these, it's much better. The Mandalorian, I think, is overall better as a binge series, so it's interesting that Disney Plus likes to give them out once a week, because I remember watching this episode feeling like it was kind of a letdown and kind of dumb the first time. Second time watching it right after the first 3 episodes, I really liked it a lot more. It feels like a good change of pace, and not being like action, 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 but having a slow pace, but also helping this small village and learning, teaching them how to defend themselves, but while still having enough action and enough cool sequences, and then going back to the main plot. I liked it enough where I think it was well placed in the season, and I'm glad that they took the risk that they did when they did, because I think it fits well nicely in the mold there. Alright guys, well that's season 1 episode 4 of This Is the Way, my The Mandalorian in Review series. Again, I've been Kyle, your host. This has been Baby Yoda, who is falling asleep on my shoulder, because that's what Baby Yoda do. But thank you guys for checking out the channel. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check out the other content on here. Keep an eye out for episode 5. And until next time, guys, this is the way.